Alright, how's it going everyone? So if you've been scrolling Twitter recently, you probably have seen this pretty huge drama regarding this VTuber called Sinder. She's a pretty big VTuber and she's doing pretty well for herself. I mean, she's partial owner of Gamersubs, which is pretty much another version of G Fuel. It's a powder that you mix with water and it turns into an energy drink. Like, it's a pretty big company. She's also got a merch store and Patreon page with a bunch of supporters. I mean, she's pretty big. Now, just yesterday she got into some hot water and the whole situation went super viral. So we're gonna be taking a look at what happened and trying to keep it as simple and understandable as possible. So Sinder is a VTuber, and as you guys know, VTubers, they don't really show their face, like they solely rely on like characters to show themselves. So Sinder hired an artist to make all sorts of custom characters for her, but not everything is sunshine and rainbows. The artist in question, Nanoless, posted a pretty huge Google document yesterday. Like, it's a pretty fat document filled with a bunch of screenshots of the conversation between her and Sinder and also her manager. Somewhere around the middle of the article, I couldn't help but reflect deeply on my life choices. Like, what am I doing with my life, spending all this time reading Discord messages between 3 people that don't even know I exist? But I pulled through and read everything because, I really wanted to fully understand everything that happened before giving my opinion on it. I've also made this very easy to understand graph that summarizes everything in that Google Doc for all of you ADHD goblins. Now, hold on, don't click off the video. Look, Subway Surfers gameplay on the side. Alright, so at the very top is Sinder and Redacted, which is her manager and also a lover from what I understand. Don't quote me on that though. Now, all around the middle, do you see like the manipulation tactics and all the gaslighting tactics that Sinder and Red did like on the artist who released the Google Doc, Nanoless. We will go over each in just a second. So they asked Nano to cancel her work with other clients she had, so Sinder gets to be her only client. They pressure her to work exclusively with Sinder without like any exclusivity contract. They pressure her to keep the exclusivity informal, being like, oh, your livelihood of making art for people, yeah, forget about that, just focus on us because you love us so much and forget about our competition. They also pressure her to keep these secrets. They also justify their control over the artist's clients by undermining the competition and also spreading rumors about them. It's a lot to unpack. The Google Doc is pretty huge, but I'll try to only show like the most relevant things. Alright, so first important conversation is when Red, the manager, is talking to Nano and he's like basically talking shit about another VTuber named Bao. He's trying really hard to convince Nano that she needs to cancel the work she's doing for Bao and just focus more on Sinder. One pretty ironic message I seen about Bao coming from Red was this one. She has a way of guilt tripping people to get her way, which is pretty funny considering he will be doing the exact same thing. This guy is one big gaslighter and just a little puppy controlled by Sinder that does all the dirty work for her. Here we can see Red is checking up on Nano to see if she actually did cancel on Bao, which is just psycho behavior. It's crazy. Justifying it by saying she has plenty of connections and she will be just fine on her own. After that, Red is trying to convince Nano to work exclusively for them and stop collaborating with the competition they have. The blank spots you see in the images are like the names of other VTubers. They are basically trying to sabotage their competition, which is so cutthroat. He even go as far as to say that if that specific VTuber asks Nano for an art piece, she should just decline that person and she will just instead get a new job from Sinder, which is so crazy to say. And from the point of view of the artist doing all the work, it literally makes no sense to do that. I mean, Red is not only hurting the other person that wanted an art piece, he's also hurting the artist too. Doing an art piece for the other person will result in new connections and more exposure to her brand. That other VTuber would have used that art piece and some people might be curious as to who made that art piece, so they would just get directed to Nano, which would just expand her business. But in the scenario Red is proposing to Nano, she will just do an additional meaningless art piece for Sinder and she gets trapped in a cage and cannot grow as an artist. This proposal from Red is fundamentally flawed and insanely psychotic and selfish, hurting everyone in the process in order to benefit Sinder and Red. So this obviously was a pretty shitty deal for Nano, so she talked to Sinder about it, announcing she does not want to take part in drama that has nothing to do with her. I mean, she's here just to create art, get her money and dip. Why would she want to be included in some stupid vendetta Sinder and Red have against other content creators? Sinder, I just want to say sorry for stepping back on the exclusivity deal. Wanted to apologize personally to you since I've only been able to talk about that with Red, but I just don't want to be dragged on any personal issues like that. After all, Joe's still a client and it makes me anxious and kinda destroys my mental health to do this kind of deal. Just wanted to let you know I still love working with you and Red, but I'll understand if things don't work out because of Joe. I just love my clients, that's all. I get it, Nano, and it was unfair to push this on you, but it's really confusing going back and forth about it. I just get compared to her a lot, even still today, and it's like I'm always living in someone's shadow, which is one of the reasons why Red asked about not making any more models for her. And when you said I understand if things don't work out, it makes me feel like you're okay with not working with me anymore, which hurts so much after all this time. I really appreciate you, Nano, and it's your decision who you ultimately work with, but this is how I've been feeling. That's such a scummy thing to say. She's basically guilt tripping Nano by saying that, being like, oh, we've worked all this time together and it means nothing to you, which is not what Nano said. She just said that she would still love to work together, but if the fact that her working with the competition manipulation also is too much for Sinder, then she'd understand why they no longer want to work together. Two completely different things. This is just pure manipulation by Sinder, and it can be very effective on vulnerable people like Nano who say they're not doing too well with their mental health. It's not me but other people's opinions of us, and I'm just trying to not get involved in any drama that other people want to talk about comparing us. Well, too bad. The whole situation turned into such a big drama. It got to a point where there's like 4 or 5 different Google Docs released by other creators involved in this. You could probably write a whole book with a combined amount of text from every single Google Doc. Sorry about this, my mental is just a bit weak. Same girl. I'm so sorry for bringing this to you. I want you to get that money. The whole situation is just kinda sucky. I just wanna get along. Quote, I understand if things don't work out. About this, it would be mostly if you hate me for not burning Joe down from my list. I would never hate you. Thank you, and same. I'm just an insecure bitch. I hope no one takes that out of context. I love everything we've done together and I want to keep doing more. People saying dumb shit online just makes me stressed. Pretty hard to read. Cinder's like a two-faced snake manipulating Nano. It's sad to see. I mean, she's trying really hard to make it seem like they're both just doing really bad mentally, and Nano is even apologizing to Sinder for bringing this up, which is so fucking insane. Like, she's not the one who should be apologizing. It's Sinder and her stupid little minion that tried to manipulate and gaslight her. This is just textbook manipulation by Sinder, and you can really tell she's pretty experienced in doing it. Find someone vulnerable, abuse your power dynamic, guilt trip that person, then gaslight that person, and then show some sympathy and make them feel like it's their fault. And there you go, that person now thinks he's the one in the wrong, and maybe it will make them reconsider his choice in the future. It's pretty sad because from reading all the messages from Nano, you can like really tell she's a pretty wholesome person that just wants to get some money from their art, that's all. And then you have cutthroat little snakes like Sinder and Red that just want everything for them and want to stomp on all the competition. God forbid there's other VTubers on this planet, man. And look how deep the manipulation got to. So Red talked with Nano after all of this and made her think she misunderstood the whole thing. So it's about working with Sinder. My friends told me it's a bit unfair for me to stop other models so I do more for Sinder, which I agree with them. I'm a free artist and I should do whatever I want to do. I don't want to take sides on any drama or situations. I still will always have a way to have open slots for Sinder, but I won't be having her as my only customer. I agree, you're a free artist and you should do what you want. But I was under the impression that taking on more Sinder work is what you wanted to do. I didn't think it was like we were making you to do that. Guess we got the misunderstand on both sides. Oh, I see. I mean, what I said is still true about how we feel, but I wasn't saying you had to do only Sinder work from now on. What a slimy little goblin this Red guy is. What do you mean I wasn't saying you only had to do Sinder work from now on? You literally asked her to stop doing any sort of work for the competition and told Nano you will give her extra jobs every time she gets a request from them in order to compensate. It's unreal how he's twisting the whole situation. He's basically doing damage control now that he failed to manipulate Nano into working solely for them. So in case anyone from the outside saw this conversation, they would just think they were trying to get Nano some more extra work, nothing more. Bunch of lying scumbags. So then Mr. PR over here wants to make sure no one knows about all of this. Take a look at this nosy little guy. You didn't tell Joe you canceled because of Sinder, did you? No, I told all of them it was health issues. I would never blame anyone besides. Lol, we never want to make you feel like we're making you or forcing you to work on or not or something. Especially if it's something you want to do, don't want to do. And our conversation the other day wasn't meant to convince you of only doing Sinder work. Once again, a bunch of lies and manipulation. The rest of the messages they have between each other is just Red being obsessed with that other VTuber they keep talking about. It's pretty boring stuff that we'll not go over, like he's just obsessed with that person and keeps talking shit. You're not missing much, honestly. So what is the aftermath of the whole situation? Cinder has issued a tweet talking about this, saying, effective immediately, Redacted will no longer be managing or overseeing my VTuber activities. He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry everyone, I will make a larger response when I'm able. Which I highly doubt it's true. Let's be honest, this is just damage control by Cinder. She's only saying this, but I doubt Red will not be involved at all in the shadows. There's just no way. They are dating and also known each other way before Cinder even became a VTuber, so I really doubt Cinder just sacks him like that. As I said before, this escalated into a pretty big deal where a lot of people associated with Cinder have released their own Google Docs talking about their experience with Cinder. There's just so much out there and it's not looking good for Cinder. I would usually wait for a response before posting a video like this, but it does seem like there's a pretty overwhelming amount of proof for her being a pretty horrible person. But I guess we will see. Also, this whole situation started a trend where people either burned or torn apart their merch they bought from Cinder. Pretty stupid in my opinion. I mean, what are you really achieving by doing this? If you really wanted to get rid of like plushies you had from her store, you could have donated it to like less fortunate orphans at an orphanage or something, rather than just destroying it for no reason. I mean, you're not proving anything to anyone by doing that. But I guess those Twitter impressions are more valuable. I mean, who would have shared a post about someone donating their Cinder plushies to an orphanage rather than just burning them and destroying them? Anyways, hope I didn't bore you too much with the yapping, but this situation is pretty wild. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.